You are listening to Aim Higher, a Catholic podcast designed to instruct and to encourage the daily practice of our faith. Bring flowers of the fairest, bring flowers of the rarest, from garden and woodland and hillside and vale. Our full hearts are swelling, our glad voices telling the praise of the loveliest rose of the vale. O Mary, we crown thee with blossoms today. Queen of the angels, Queen of the May. Pax et bonum, peace and good to you all. This is Father Anthony with Sister Catherine, and you're listening to Aim Higher. Today, if you haven't guessed it already, our topic for this episode is going to be really the month of May and its dedication to the Blessed Virgin Mary, and then a special emphasis upon the May crowning itself and all other devotions that we give to the Blessed Mother during this very special month. I mean, if you look at your calendar for the month of May, there are so many feasts that are put aside for the Blessed Virgin Mary, as you see all over the year, but the two feasts that stand out on the 23rd of May, which is the Blessed Mary, Mediatrix of all graces, and the 31st of May, which is the Queenship of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Now, of course, you really can't go a month, 1 month in the calendar without seeing a major Marian hymn, or I'm sorry, Marian feast. Come on, Father. We'll talk about hymns a little later. So a major Marian feast. Obviously, the big ones are August 15th, the Assumption, and December 8th, Immaculate Conception. But, you have in February, the espousals, the purification, then the espousals of the Blessed Virgin Mary and Saint Joseph. You have in March.
I didn't realize that was in January.
Oh, I thought it was in February. Is that in January? My bad.
I'm not
100%
sure, but
I
thought that it was.
My bad. Well, anyway, in March, the Annunciation, and just so many of them that she's connected with. Mother of Sorrows.
Mm-hmm.
Again, so there's so many of them, but the month of May has been set aside, especially. Oh, October, Queen of the Holy Rosary.
Well, September, the Most Holy Name of Mary.
Most Holy Name of Mary. I mean, come on, Father. There's so many.
I mean, even in August, there's the Seven Joys. That is
the Immaculate Heart of Mary is also in August.
I'm just trying to with the going back to the espousals. I'm just like, this is driving me crazy because
it might be January. Yeah,
it might be. I might be wrong, but then I started thinking, well, what's in November? And we have the that's October. The presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary. So you're right. There's just like something. I was just like, is there one in April, folks? That I'm not sure of. We can't go solely off the calendar per se because that feast might have been suppressed.
Well, yeah, if it landing on a Sunday, but if it's a major feast on a Sunday, Apparition of Our Lady of Lourdes in February.
Mm-hmm.
That's another big one. Anyway, that we're not playing the game. Who can find the most Marian feasts on the calendar.
There was a question in a trivia I played, though, was how many feasts were there in the calendar?
Oh my gosh.
And I did figure it out, but I don't remember it right now. But getting back
gotta be quite a few of them, though.
getting back to, well, that's February, sister. What are you doing?
I couldn't find it.
Okay, you know why? So it did get bumped, if you will, because the feast of the espousals of the Blessed Mother and Saint Joseph falls on January 23rd, and then we're looking at the 2022 calendar. That was a Sunday, so that's, and it was like a half square because so we
Oh,
couldn't even put it as it'll be commemorated, I'm sure, or it was, but I wasn't gonna be able to fit that into that little teeny tiny space. So I think I was right then because you said February, and I was like, I thought it was January.
no, you were right. You were
Yes.
right. I said February. I don't know. I was
Okay.
thinking February.
So just let's back this up a little bit. January, we have the espousals of Mary and Saint Joseph. February is the purification.
Okay.
March, and then there's other feasts in February. March is the Annunciation.
Biggin. April.
Biggin. April.
Well, in April, depending on when Easter falls, you do have the Seven Sorrows,
which we did this past year. But I'm just wondering if there might be something else, because now we have a lot of feasts in April that were possibly suppressed because of either it was Holy Week or the octave of Easter. But anyway, May.
Anyway, we're focusing on the month of May is what we're trying to do, but we're failing miserably. Anyway, the month of May has been set aside especially for the Blessed Mother, and a general devotion to her, I'd say, because you also have the month of October is a month that we do special devotion to her, but is her title as Our Lady of the Holy Rosary. But I would say, I don't think I'm going off script here, that May would be a more general devotion to her as our mother. Do you think
it's probably more commonly known that way? I mean, I could make the argument that October would be as well, but October is more the focus of the rosary.
The rosary is focused more upon, but it's always focused upon when you bring the Blessed Mother into the conversation.
I do think that probably why the association is so great will be because May also is when Mother's Day falls. So
that's true.
If you celebrate Mother's Day, then I think that's probably why those things are put together.
There's the connection really does make sense. And another connection you could bring to like why, like, we're talking about the May crowning itself, and why do Catholic churches practice that? Even today we practice that. You may have some origins coming from the various Indo-European races, that it was a custom to crown a May queen. It was to have a May dance in these pagan countries, because that's really when the flowers really came in bloom. Spring was really in full force. It probably wasn't even that warm out just yet. So it really was a day for festivals and dancing. And one can make the argument that our May crowning, we Christianized it and applied it particularly to the Blessed Mother. And like you said, being our mother, but also we connect flowers and life with this month, and she really was our mystic rose, one of the titles given to the Blessed Mother. And really it was through her act of humility that life was given to us from our Lord's sacrifice on the cross, because if she didn't say yes to God's request, she take upon herself the motherhood of his divine son, we would not be redeemed. So we owe so much to Mary, and I don't think we can do too much insofar as paying her the correct honor and homage. Obviously, sister, I say correct so people don't think, oh, I'm talking about idolatry. I think, maybe that's something we should just get out of the way right here, right now, sister, so people understand this. There is a difference between honoring, veneration, and adoration. Adoration is what we give to God alone. Okay. It is the type of worship. It is called, I believe it's latria, and which is adoration, which only belongs to the divine. Anything below that is just honoring those who, because they have practiced certain virtues, because they have achieved a certain amount of known holiness, we honor them for that. The Blessed Mother being the highest of them all. The honor that we give all the saints is called dulia.
Yep.
Okay. And to the Blessed Mother, it's hyperdulia. Meaning it's greater than all other saints, all the angels, and it's all because she is the mother of God. She is crowned Queen of heaven and earth. This is why we pay her this homage. And we look at a statue of the Blessed Mother. We look at a painting of the Blessed Mother, and there's so many of them available. Does that mean we're adoring the painting? We are adoring the statue, or even say just honoring the statue itself? No. But the person to whom this image represents. And I think probably one of the best ways of explaining it to somebody, the type of honor we give the Blessed Mother, is the same type of honor that you do when you have a picture of a loved one in your home, especially if it's someone who has passed away, a grandparent, a great grandparent, and you have a kind of a place of honor on your wall for them. Well, if someone were to take this picture of your grandparent and toss in the ground and stomp on it, rip it up, someone whom you love, would that not bother you? Now, they didn't do anything to the individual themselves. Let's say it's someone who's actually still living. They didn't harm them, but the memory of the person they harmed. That would upset you. And it's that same type of love, devotion, and dedication that we give to all the saints, but especially to the Blessed Mother.
I'm glad you went into that explanation. I remember when I first learned those terms, latria, dulia, and hyperdulia.
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting.
latria.
It is latria. I double checked.
Latria. I had a feeling. I always seem to put my my accent in the wrong spot. My accent in the wrong syllable. Latria. That sounds better.
But yes, I think it was good that you kind of went through that, because that is a big hang up. And there's actually a printing of one of the songs, Catholic songs, Daily Daily Saint Mary, depending how up newer the book is, they actually say worship instead of honor, which always just seemed kind of weird to me anyway.
Well, it's understanding. Now, I do have to put a certain oh shoot, what's that called?
Caveat?
Oh,
No?
I slip in my note. It's I have to qualify my statement. I have to put certain qualifiers.
We need to put an asterisk by your
an asterisk to my statement here, because our language is a living one, so it does evolve, and our understanding of certain words changes, or how it's used. Something that may even be like 50 years, it wouldn't have been related. So if you actually look into Catholic theology, worship is to worship something isn't what it means is to honor and revere. That's what to worship means. So to say that I worship the Blessed Mother, I worship St. Francis of Assisi, I worship St. Teresa of the Child Jesus, I worship St. Augustine, I worship St. Catherine Siena, go down the line. That means really I honor and revere them. Okay. Now you can give worship to God too, but then we would say I adore God. Now the thing is, the reason why I qualify, that what I was thinking of, qualifying the
Qualify, okay.
statement. The reason I was qualifying it was because people, when they think of worship, they think to a deity. So in our society now, to use the term worship would get confusing. You would have to go into the explanations. Even though technically speaking, the definition of the word, I mean, even if you look in the dictionary, they would point to it being towards the deity. But it's not actually used strictly for that. But because you don't want to get into any pointless arguments, conversations on this, especially if it could deter possibly converting a person, you're better using to honor, revere, even though worship technically is not the incorrect term. And I'll tell you, it threw me a loop a bit studying theology, and it had chapters, the cult, worship of the saints, the worship of the Blessed Mother. And I'm sitting there like, worship? Explain to me what I'm explaining to everybody. That's why I qualify in the statement, because I know that's not how we understand. It's like using the word adore. Oh, that baby is so adorable. Well, no, actually, only God's adorable.
Yep.
Oh, you know what I mean. Yes, I know you're using this word poorly. We've also taken the word adorable to apply to something that's cute.
Right. Because I remember we were, as children, I think grandma used to nab us on that if we used adorable in that way, other than making reference to God. And I do see it now, and I find myself kind of, it depends on the person I'm with.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna, if you refer to your children as adorable, I'm not gonna slam you for it, but just maybe kind of think,
well, if anyone refers to their children as adorable, I'm going to refer to the parents as delusional.
well, it's just in that
no,
moment, just in that one moment there.
I'm kidding. Just, well, I know what kids can be like. I was one, and I deal with them all the time. Kids are great, but they're also human beings.
Yes,
and
full of emotions.
We're full of emotions, and none of us are perfect. Adults, especially those who have children, are a little more disciplined. And we're trying to teach that discipline to the children, but then again, we too had to keep ourselves in check. So anyway, it's neither here nor there,
right?
Although it's a good topic of discussion. So it's just understanding these terms. That's why you even look in like my Catholic faith, it says use terms like honor, revere, because I even had a argument with not an argument, but discussion with a Protestant who says, well, even the Bible, it says revere only God. I think it's like Isaiah the prophet or something, and you're just kind of going like, dude, come on, so just take it back a little bit. All right. The term adoration is the highest term you can use to honor a being, and that's the one applied only to God, only to the divinity. If someone were to truly use the term, I adore whatever creature, that is a sacrilege. That is a blasphemy towards God. So you can understand why, like Our Lady of La Salette, one of the things she brought up to the two children was how the people, especially in France, were not using their language correctly. They were using poor language, God's name in vain, constantly working on Sundays, not honoring God, not adoring him properly. So it is a problem. It is something that we deal with. And I bring this up because we talk about the May crowning sister and doing the little research. Sometimes you got to go with what's the most concise definition. So one thing it's really hard to pinpoint exactly where the May crowning itself started. Like I was talking about before, yeah, the May Queen, the May festivals, because flowers and life really starting to bloom. But where the May devotion to the Blessed Mother actually started, even the May crowning, but the May devotion in its present form originated at Rome, where Father Latomia of the Roman College of Society of Jesus, to counteract infidelity and immorality among the students, made a vow at the end of the 18th century to devote the month of May to Mary. And I believe, if I am correct, various popes confirm that. Pope Pius the Seventh in 1815 granted a partial indulgence for participating in either a public or private devotion honoring Mary during the month of May. Pius the Ninth made the indulgence plenary in 1859, which I believe was also the year that he confirmed the Immaculate Conception. 59 or 58, can't remember. But
That was 58.
yeah. So yeah, yeah, a lot of feasts, coming on this day. So I just during this month. So I had to really kind of look into that, but the whole month is dedicated to the Blessed Mother.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a little bit, and interesting, infidelity, immorality, trying to counteract those, especially when you think of the perpetual virginity of the Blessed Virgin Mary and her motherhood, and her being the spouse of Saint Joseph, and how and she would be the perfect person, the perfect one to go to overcome such vice that it takes over Rome, the eternal city, for crying out loud. So a priest taking such serious steps to promote a devotion is admirable, and warranted.
Sorry.
Just anything, sister. So I'm starting.
Any of that? Not really. I mean,
Well, well, and there's really nothing else to say. Just kind of giving a brief history of our what's proper, how to properly honor the Blessed Mother and the saints, what worship really means, where the history of a May celebration comes from, coming from pagan countries, but being Christianized and being devoted to the Blessed Virgin Mother.
yes.
And it brings about various different types of customs that spring forth. And was there any certain one, sister, that you wanted to talk about first?
Customs?
Yeah, customs for the month of May.
Well, I mean, we were talking about the May crowning, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe.
Alrighty. That's right. That's what we were doing.
Well, I guess I'll put this question to you first, and then I can answer it. What is your first memory of the May crowning done at church? So this would be the public Unfair question, huh?
Well, I know I probably was doing it when I was like anywhere like 3, 4.
Mhm. Probably.
Probably when I was about 5 or 6, when I was about 5 or so, when I was um in school. And I think we were preparing some kind of procession through the church, and I think there was one of the sisters who was running it. I forget what her name was. She was the taller one. Uh, she was a taller one.
Yeah, I don't remember her at
Sister.
all, but on an old videotape from a Christmas play that I think our brother has, Father Bernard or Father Joseph was giving a speech, and he made reference to a Sister Therese, I think, Sister Mary Therese, and I looked at James like, I don't remember
Did he
her at
describe who
all.
that is? James?
Yeah, he said that she was a very tall sister, and
Mary Therese. There was another one there. She
Sister
wasn't.
Julia.
So, yeah, she wasn't Dominican like Sister Antonina, but she was like one of the Sisters of Mercy, I think.
Something I just remember her. She
She
was
was
wearing
like
like the
the blue
vest and
blade.
she
It
was
was,
modernized habit.
yeah, more modernized, but
Um,
it was yeah, yeah,
but
like
it blew
she,
my mind that
she,
there was another, and I
like,
don't
who are
remember
you?
what order.
I think it's like the Sisters of, not, maybe not Mercy. I can't remember what it was. Our dad might know, but
but but like I said, it just blew my mind that there was another sister in existence, and I have absolutely no memory of this whatsoever. And this was one of our, or maybe it wasn't one of our plays. It was, I think it was one of our, oh, maybe it was plays, but we also did on for the Feast of All Saints. We would all take a saint and do a demonstration
yeah,
or a speech. So maybe it was them, but this just goes to show how I was so not with it as a child. My memories are not great. I
she admits it here.
yes. I mean, there's a few standouts, but so
Well, the thing, the reason why I remember the sister, I just never learned her name. So Mary Therese,
yeah, and
you
maybe one
know,
of our listeners
Mary
that was
Therese, if
around
you're
at this time, she knows who I'm talking about,
still
maybe be
alive,
able to interject.
God be with you. She didn't look like she was that old. But I remember we were in the big room, big
Mhm.
classroom.
The blue room? Is that
The
what we
blue
called
room
it?
was before we converted it
Mhm,
for the other class. We were still in the front room,
mhm,
and she I remember staying, we were in, I think we used to go like do like some like gym classes or something in that room, or that was kind of a room we were sent into when we
mhm,
had downtime, or like for a recess or whatever. We were
mhm,
coming back and we're standing, everyone get in line, and you got used to doing that, and
mhm.
just standing in line. And she was asking us questions, and I remember she says, anyone here, like become a priest? Any boy? And I raised my hand. I was about 4 or 5, raised my hand. And then she goes, anyone interested in becoming a nun? And I raised my hand. And she's like, you can't do that. And I'm like, well, why not? You have to be a girl. And I was like, could you imagine? Is this nowadays? You say I'm non-binary, but anyway, whatever. Uh,
I mean, she should have asked the question: Are any of you boys want to be a priest, and any of you
she
girls?
may have asked it that way, but again, you say there's things that you didn't remember as a kid. Boy, I only remember this because I was embarrassed.
Okay, yeah,
I was like, oh, that's what
it was a
sisters are.
very cringy moment.
Well, then until later, I learned you had, teaching brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, that would have been nice to be a
Yeah,
teaching brother. I got to do is teach a class, and I don't got to worry about all this other stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not complaining. I'm
yeah. But it is weird that to me that there was this sister. I mean, I don't know how long she was there. Like I said, maybe
It
one of
felt
our
like
listeners can um,
maybe a year, but this was probably
enlighten
back in
us.
in like 90, 91, 90,
Well, I mean,
91.
I was 9 or 8 or 9. I mean, you would think an 8 and 9
Well,
year old would not know what's up, but I guess not
well,
me.
sister, Just goes to show you were full of yourself.
Well, I don't think I was really full of myself. I was just in a.
Are we going to have a therapy session on Aim Higher right now for you, sister? Are we going to try to
Perhaps.
go through your past and try to figure
Oh.
out, why you caused the bishop so much trouble?
That
Is
might
that what
be
we're going to
interesting.
do?
I'm not really prepared, nor do you have the time. Um,
Yeah, I can be
but
fashionably late to where I need to be. What
that
do you
is
want to do?
true.
What do you want to go first? Let us go back to your earliest childhood memory. Okay.
No.
The silly
To
to
the
the
sublime.
more sublime.
Anyway, so
That's probably like my first memory. I just
okay.
remember getting in line. I really start remembering it the older I got because Grandma and Aunt Maggie were in charge of like
Mhm.
this, and
It was always
yeah.
it was quite neat. For me, I do have like this small memory of it. It would have been the first year that we were at on 52nd and Lisbon at Our Lady of the Rosary. And for whatever reason, so at that point, so that was 87. So I was only about 5 years old. And I had to walk up by myself. I don't know if this was just kind of like a last minute plan. So I was just like, here, you're going to, do it. And I know that I was terrified. And I remember that grandma was kind of walking with me, but I was pretty much left to do it all alone.
The
And
weight of the world on your small 5-year-old shoulders.
and my takeaway from that is that I really wish I could have gotten another opportunity to do it again because I really felt like I really wasn't present. It was a very, like I said, a terrifying moment. And I always kind of hoped that I would have gotten another opportunity. I don't quite understand why I didn't because it's not like we had that many girls. And not that it does strictly have to be girls,
No,
but
usually is.
it
I mean,
usually is.
I've done it. I've done the maid crowning at times only because you'd have girls
Right.
and you want to still have the ceremony. It's not an official ceremony. It is, the procession with the crown and flowers presented to the statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary and a crowning while hymns are being sung.
Right.
We do it inside and out. Well, we do it outside. I think we're going to only do it outside this year.
That'd be nice. It is always kind of neat to do that, and we can kind of
Which
talk a little about
reminds
that in
me,
a minute. But
gotta talk to ladies who do it. I better remind myself.
It's just that I was thinking about like how it was done years and years ago, and usually I think how they would choose because they'd have larger class sizes that were Catholic, and not every girl's going to get to do it. So I think they would basically have to earn it based on merit and grades or however they did. That's how they decided. And I think it was out of the first communion class.
Are you admitting that's the reason why it didn't work out for you?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, okay. No, I'm looking at my because like, oh no, I put down in the schedule every litany of Loretto
after
on the first Sunday.
benediction.
I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Which
like,
I was going to tell you, you ought to. I think you should capitalize benediction.
Probably. Probably.
I'm sorry, I don't mean
I
to
think you're
proofread
right.
your stuff,
I
but
think
I
you're right.
do, and I look
probably
at it like
I probably should. Yeah. You're right. You're right. I should capitalize the word benediction.
so.
I do
My
not know
apologies.
why I was
My brain just sees text, and I just have to
comment on it. Right or wrong, she comments on it, but she's usually right. In fact, I only had to say wrong on the off chance that this could, swell in sister so much pride that her soul becomes endangered. But
there's just a lot of proofreading going on in my life.
When I would send letters home in the seminary, I would write it out and then I'd go back and I didn't get a computer until about 4 months into it. So I had to write everything out and I was writing a letter and I'm going over it, making sure my grammar was correct. And Father Joseph is like, why are you putting so much effort to a letter? Just send it. I said, Father, you don't understand my family. If I make some kind of grammatical error, they're going to send this back to me with red markings on it and say, do it again. Okay, they're going to comment and they won't even talk about it. It's like, oh, it's really nice that that's going on for you. Oh, really good for your studies, brother. You're doing this. Oh, that's very interesting. We're so thrilled. You're happy. They're like, what's wrong with your grammar? What's wrong with you? Why that you don't put a comma there? That's a semicolon, you idiot, you dinkus. So that's pretty much, I say, you don't understand my family. You know, there are a few things we take really serious. Grammar is one of the more serious things we take.
I mean, what was it? The motto, criticizing is caring. And we're critical with each other. I'm not, criticizing is caring.
That's true.
You hadn't heard that one before?
No. I kind of thought it was originally a lie, like patience is a virtue.
Well, but we're critical with ourselves.
Well, yeah.
I'm gonna give Father a hard time because, well, he's my brother, and vice versa. I mean, I'm not gonna. Someone sent me a letter.
Yeah, you're my brother. You're my brother? What? You're vice versa? It's like, he's my brother and I'm his brother. Well, okay. I'm all your father. So you know what? Way off.
Let's just get this all too confusing.
Because if you're smart enough to send somebody something to look over before the mass populace reads it, you might save yourself some embarrassment. Then other times you don't. I've read some of my articles and gone, I don't remember putting the sentence in that way. That's interesting. And Bishop's like, I kind of rewrote a little bit because you're a little wordy, or you did this, or you did that. It's like, as long as it sounds better. Or sometimes I go back and say, wow, I did a really good job. And you're like, do you realize all the mistakes you made? Oh, okay.
So anyway.
Oh yeah. What's the topic again?
May crowding. And I think we're going to kind of talk. It was one of those I always look forward to. I do think I got to a certain age where I didn't want to be in the procession. Probably, I think after the age of 10, I do think that there does come a point where you're not. I definitely was not cute at 10 or 9 or 8 or 7.
Well, you like to encourage like the teenage girls to help, especially to help with the younger girls. And a lot of them are willing to do it, but they get to a certain age. Actually, even when I was here, I had some of these girls who were teenagers, and I was like, you know what? If you don't want to do it, don't do it. And none of them hesitated. They were like, oh, good, we're not doing this. I said, but I would like you to kind of stay back and help get these girls into place. They're fine doing that. And that role does have to kind of change. If it's going to shift over to someone else doing it, that they're going to have to know, you eventually have to stop being the child singing on stage. Sometimes now you're eventually going to have to go to stage crew and management. And it's also, yes, I do get, there's the honors, the joy of the custom. Unfortunately, we live in a time where teenagers look at things a little differently, and they're more self-conscious, I think, now than they were 50, 60 years ago.
Maybe.
I don't know. You know what? That's why I got to put the asterisk on that, maybe. And yeah, you respect that. It's like, you don't want to do it, then don't do it.
But finding other ways to help is actually
finding other ways to help, taking part in it. It's like, well, I really want you out there and singing then. So we have a lot of young girls doing it, and it'll be fine. It's like we had boys and girls going up. And I mean, I remember doing it, taking part in it, and it was lovely.
I mean, I always look forward to seeing the crown when we would get it, the crown of flowers that would be done. That's always just seemed really special to me. And, although it's just like a very material thing, it's just something that always stayed in my mind and like a good memory. And so I think that's why doing these things is very important, especially for the children to experience. But I also just really like how, the flowers and just like that gathering together. And then there's some really beautiful hymns that are done. I mean, we
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have an official May crowning here, obviously, but we do have a crown that I put on the 1st of May because we just don't have the people. We'll probably sing O Santissima for the month of May, which is one of my favorites.
Mine too.
And that's okay. But I also like what, is done, down in or out in Wisconsin. I think actually the way the states go, you're actually, I don't know. I did do this once where it's
We're west of you.
But
we're out west.
And I mean, I remember when I started taking over organizing it and trying to, guide the children to walk nicely and in a line. And it was an undertaking. And finally, you had the brilliant idea of let's have a cross bear, and then, as we're going outside, the cross bear leads, followed by Father in the service, and the children just follow. Then the pace is set, and then we didn't have to really worry about it. Luckily, Father Bernard agreed. And after that, it seemed to be a lot easier to manage because I just remember trying to get the kids to stand still. And we had a lot of littles, it's just varying ages. And I know down in Kentucky, they have a lot of little kids too. And I think they actually do this a similar way. And I believe they go outside too. And it kind of made me think about how when you're talking about standing in a line, like we learned that early on. I don't know what's done nowadays as far as teaching kids to line up. I have absolutely no idea. I would think that that's still kind of encouraged.
I think so.
But it did seem like it was a little bit of a lost idea on some of the children. But they're kids,
they're kids, and
we're trying to have practice after Sunday Mass, and they're already wiggly, and they did their best to pay attention during Mass, and it's a lot to expect.
They're hungry, and I get the focus on this, and
right. And I think that's where a lot of, for lack of a better term, frustration came in trying to get this to work out, because I realized, maybe 50 years ago when apparently people were perfect. I don't know.
Whoa.
Well,
you had like almost in every parish sisters who were helping.
A parochial school,
and you had a parochial school. You could do that
during the week.
Another day of the week, and oftentimes we did that.
And just to kind of go back on that statement of perfect, what I meant by that though is how quickly, as we all get older, we forget what it was like. How it was when you were a child, and we always look at people like, why would you do it that way? But heaven only knows what you actually did when you were little.
People, you kind of go back and say, his childhood wasn't so bad. No, so it's back in my day, kids. You kids do this, and I had to do this. I don't care what generation you're from. You do go back to kids, and you say, back in my day, and you were probably a terror. I wasn't a great kid. I'll admit it. I wasn't a great kid, but you talk to Dad over here and he'll be like, oh, no, everything was fine. You can tell by the glassy stare, he's repressing a few things.
Yeah, definitely.
I think he's convinced himself it never happened.
Right.
And I think it's just a big blank between probably 1984 to 2004. There's a bit of a blank there. He does not really sure what's going on anymore. I'm a little concerned for him, actually.
But anyway, I think it's a beautiful custom. I do like the hymns. So I have several Marian hymns that I really like, but I think the top one for me as far as May crowning goes is On This Day, O Beautiful Mother. Few reasons is one is that was our maternal grandmother's favorite hymn, and therefore our mother's favorite hymn. And I do remember being really young, sitting or in the living room, and Dad had an organ and he was playing it, and he had me sing it for Mom for whatever occasion that might have been. I actually found a really nice a couple of on YouTube instrumental versions of it. There's one that it's, I think, a violin mostly, and it just
Ooh,
I'll link it on
it's
our
pretty.
video. It's
Yeah,
very
link
beautiful.
it.
There's also a piano version of it, and I love listening to those. But there is another, and I don't know if I know we don't sing it in, or you don't sing it in Wisconsin, but I did discover a new, to me, hymn about Mary that I really like, and came to find out that down in Kentucky, they know this song and they have sung it before, and they probably will sing it again when I come visit in July, because they know I like it. But it's Sing of Mary. I don't know if you've ever heard that one.
You introduced me to that,
Yes.
and I unfortunately,
I wish we
yeah, you
learned that
know
one.
what? Yeah, I remember, because when I first heard it, I heard it as "Sing It, Mary." I was like, "What? Wait, what's the song called? Sing It, Mary." And I think it was Judy. I think it was like, "What did you just say?" I said, "Yeah, sing it, Mary." No, it's "Sing of Mary." Oh, okay, yeah, that sounded like I was telling the Blessed Mother to start belting, and the title made no sense to me either. This makes more sense.
Yes. So that is a very beautiful song. I wish we did know it, but I'll just enjoy listening to it when I get to hear it. I mean, there are just so many great hymns to the Blessed Mother.
O
And
Santissima, like you mentioned,
O
that's
Santissima. I mean,
that's
that's
fan
one of
favorite.
my
That's my
go-tos for recessional here, because I find that
it's mine too.
Latin hymns are easier to sing for me, and
Oh,
I think
yeah,
everybody knows that one really well, so we go with it.
yeah.
And I tell myself there's really no, really, except for a few exceptions, really no wrong Sunday to sing it.
No,
I
no.
mean, so that's always a fun one, because it's very upbeat too.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's just very beautiful. I'm totally taking over here, Father, because I'm gonna keep, I want to
That's
keep
all right. You
going.
keep going. I'm just gonna
Um
enjoy my my body armor light blueberry pomegranate.
yeah, every time you say the product name, I do think it's some sort of like deodorant or something.
Yeah,
um
it's not a deodorant, it's a drink, but it does sound like body armor.
well,
Yeah, it does
exactly.
sound like it's supposed to go in your
Which,
armpits or
I don't know,
something.
are we even supposed to say brand names? They're not sponsoring us.
It's free advertising for them.
Okay.
You
But
know,
um
maybe in the future, Body Armor will give me a call and say, "Father, we love your stuff. You know, we can't pay you money, but we can give you a year's a free, like, lifetime supply of body armor." And I'd be like, "Okay, keep me hydrated."
um but then there's, as you sung in the beginning, Bring Flowers
Mm-hmm.
of the Fairest. That's a beautiful
That's a
song.
very good Irish song.
um Immaculate Mary is a great song.
Classic.
I remember teaching, back when I was in Wisconsin before I came here. I used to spend a lot of time with my friend's family and her
Mm-hmm.
kids. And I basically, when I left Wisconsin to come here, her family doubled in size. So it was 3 to 6 because of triplets. But I remember working with the two girls because I spent a lot of time with them.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, was teaching to sing Immaculate Mary, and I actually still have a video of the two of them singing it. It's pretty cute.
And they
And
do a much better job with it now, I'll tell you that.
I'll have to have them sing it for me when I see them next. I
Mm-hmm.
believe you. I absolutely do believe you. But it is amazing how, and I realize my going there to help out, was extra help, so I could maybe put that attention to them. But they really took to learning that song. And then I remember we were teaching, well, the oldest one to say Mary. So when she was really little, so whenever I was there, I'd hold her and I'd point to a picture and just go, Mary,
Mm-hmm.
Mary. And she eventually did. And same with her younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was working on their little brother. I think before I left, he could do it too. And it wasn't just me like coaching them to do it.
Yeah.
The parents and grandma were too.
Yeah.
But it is kind of interesting how we have these things to use to encourage the children, to form a connection.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm really grateful for a lot of the things that we do, the music, different ceremonies. really stand out. Yeah, I could keep going on about songs, but I'll just do one more. I promise.
Okay.
Promise, and then you can. And I don't know. This is not one we do for May crowning. I don't know if anybody else does too. And there's different versions of it, but the song Ave Maria, which a lot of people are familiar with, and they're probably more familiar with the a very popular. And I can't even think of the composer, but the more commonly known. But there is one that what we sing in Wisconsin is the Arkadelp version, and I'll link to that one too.
I think the one you're thinking of is Mozart.
I thought it
I
might
think it
be
was Mozart.
The more popular one.
I sang that for a wedding down in
Lubbock.
In Lubbock.
Really,
and
did I sing?
And it was weird because I tried to give him do Arkadelp because I knew that one better, and the one for Mozart, you're just like it's just all over the place. And I just remember when I was singing it, I basically was using my operatic female voice. So if you didn't look back, you probably wouldn't have realized it was a man singing, because it was like Ave Maria, gratia plena. So yeah,
I know I sang that version for our brother's wedding, and but the Arkadelp one I did for other weddings. It's just I think it's more beautiful because of its simplicity. I really like it.
Me too. Ave Maria, gratia plena.
So
okay, she ain't doing it, folks. One day, maybe it'll be the last episode of Aim Higher when we're both in our 80s. Maybe I'll get her to sing something.
Perhaps.
Maybe. I'm gonna break you. I'm wearing you down, sister. You were moving your lips. I'm wearing you down, sister. I'm wearing you down.
So there's just a lot of. I mean, I could go on, and I promised I wouldn't. So
again, I could. You and I have talked about it before. I think it was one of our earlier programs, especially going into Easter. The various Marian hymns that we do, like at Compline. Salve Regina right now, the Paschal season, Regina Caeli, which is probably the most beautiful. No Regina Caeli, letare, alleluia.
It is beautiful, but almost like Alma Redemptoris Mater. So that's for Advent through purification.
Really?
I do like that one. I mean,
Alma Redemptoris Mater, via ceri bordamantes. I mean, they're all beautiful.
They are. They really are. How can you really?
But I'd ask myself, like, what's my favorite Marian hymn? I mean, I like, Salve Mater. Salve Mater misericordiae. Mater veni, Mater veni. Concordi Laetitia. Concordi Laetitia. Mundo salve Sitia.
That's for the Assumption, right? Oh, that is a nice
Mariae preconia, recolate ecclesia,
but
Virgo Maria.
You did remind me of another really good hymn to Mary that I don't believe we do. For
Sing it, Mary. Sing it, Mary.
Not Sing It, Mary. Okay. Mother Dear, oh, pray for me. And I do love that song for the sense that it's one of those songs I sing to myself. When I'm vacuuming the chapel, I sing. Only when the vacuum's running, by the way. So
as long as you're praising God, he doesn't.
Right. But when you ponder the words, it's just like absolutely. Sometimes I just feel like I can't just, plead in the prayer that I want. So that's why these songs really come in handy, which we said we would do a Catholic hymn program.
Episode.
Oh, see, you've tainted me.
Now you can blame me all you want, but you never listened to me before. Why are you listening to me now? What's your problem? But no, we're kind of doing that now in a way because the hymns, and it's not that surprising considering our background.
Right.
And being in the choir. And that's also another point I was going to make. That when we got older, being part of the choir and singing the Marian hymns for the May crowning and watching the children, it was a different element. Now, like a different element for me, being a server, now being the priest, being a celebrant. It's a different perspective. But beside that, I'd have to say, after a lot of thought, my favorite English Marian hymn I have to be Daily, Daily Sing to Mary.
Ooh, that's a good one,
And
too.
I remember I was in the car, this is about 10 years ago, with some teenage boys. And we're driving and they're talking about whatever teenage boys talk about. Actually, I think they were talking about the book of the Apocalypse. Right? Anyway, I was in my own little world, my own little corner, my own little chair. And sorry, I'm not even going to explain what that reference is. And I'm driving and I just go and I just start singing. Daily, daily, sing to Mary, sing my soul her praises due. All her feast, her actions honor, with our devotion true. Lost in wandering contemplation, be her majesty confessed. Call her mother, call her virgin, happy mother, virgin best, or blessed, or I'm not sure what. But one of the boys looks at me and just because he was sitting in the front seat. He's like, "Is that your favorite song or something?" I'm like, "Why? You sing it all the time." I was like, and I guess you're right. That is my favorite. That's my favorite Marian.
Well, see, then you brought it that one, then made me think of I Love Thee, O Mary.
I love thee, O Mary, thy name I revere. Sweet Virgin of virgins, our Lady most dear. Our hearts with devotion turns ever to thee. For thou art our beacon on life's troubled sea. I think
Very
so.
nice.
I think getting mixed up. Yeah,
I think it was right.
I think so. I don't know.
But when you think about like these words, that's
Queen
why
of the Holy Rosary.
Oh,
I mean,
Mother Beloved.
So many great ones.
It's just, but I mean, how blessed are we that we have these words put into song so that at any moment, let's say you're doing the dishes and you're feeling very stressed for whatever reason, anxious. I use a lot of these songs in my head, of course, singing along to them because while sometimes it's very good to have your own words, I think these are some really great words, and I try to really think about what they mean as like, yes, this is what I want to feel. I love thee, O Mary, thy name I revere. I want to love you. I want to revere you.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful that we have that. I could go on, but there was one other point I wanted before we end this episode. But I wanted to make sure you stop it. But I'm not sure if you're pretty much through.
I don't know. It just you said something about like if you're like feeling depressed and upset. I remember I was in the seminary and something was troubling me. I was going through, and just like anybody, you go through times of spiritual dryness and
the aridity,
and it just drags you down. And I was very not myself. I was very somber. And Father Joseph noticed that, and he looks at me, and he says, "Sing." I'm like, "What?" He's like, I said, "Sing something.
Sing, brother, sing.
Sing." Oh,
that's a Brady Bunch reference.
Ooh, sister, why'd you do that? You just ruined it. No, I actually made it better. But yeah, sing, honey, sing. Oh gosh, the best acting he ever did in his life. Like, who would say that to somebody in the
in the middle of the
middle of the
night.
night?
But
Sing, honey, sing. Oh, wait a minute. I got to be to work tomorrow, and I'm
well, that was
designing a
Christmas, so
skyscraper.
that was Christmas. So
Uh, no rest. We all know. We all know when the very Brady Christmas, he had to go to work on Christmas Day,
oh, that's true.
and then he got the building imploded because the supplies were lacking in quality.
Anyway,
And
yes.
they sang
Fire.
many Christmas hymns, and it gave Mike Brady the strength to get through the rubble. Now, if that's not inspiring, I don't know what is.
I do cry if I so anyway.
Sorry. Sister, what was the point? Final thing you want to talk about?
Well, okay, well, I think you should finish your story about how Father encouraged you to
Well,
sing. Did
it
that
was
snap
really
you out of you?
that was really it. I mean, it was just sing and I did. And I don't remember what I was singing. It was some
Okay,
hymn and just really gave it might have been the Te Deum.
there you go.
And yeah, it kind of just gets you out of a funk. And so
Mhm.
it does give you that extra jolt because if you really sing something, you're giving a lot of emotion and passion behind it because it takes a lot of extra energy with the breath control,
Mhm.
sustaining the voice and everything. So for me, I was just really yeah, it did make me feel better.
Well, that's good.
Uh so some
Well, and
people would say,
singing
"Father,
is
I
praying
sang, it didn't
twice.
work." It's like, well, I could say it's going to work for
Right.
everybody.
But I
But
find it hard to believe that if you really were to play one of those hymns we talked about and just kind of take a moment to think about the words, I don't know how you can't kind of draw out of that completely, to some extent. Like it'll just push you a little bit out of it,
the
maybe. I don't know.
best way to spread merry and cheer is to sing loud for all to hear.
It's just weird how this is kind of turned almost not quite to a Christmas
Not quite for
episode,
Christmas, but it's like
but
coming a review, like a
yes,
Christmas movie review.
yes.
Of course, first thing I referenced was Cinderella.
You did.
So
And that was not
that's
Christmas.
not Christmas.
Anyway,
Anyway,
so
sister, what was the last point you wanted to bring up?
well, we talked about the public devotion of the May Crowning, but there is actually something you can do privately and in your home. You've talked about doing a prayer altar. Well, you could
Mm-hmm.
also do a May altar. I
Mm-hmm.
plan to do one here. I'm actually very excited about it. But it's just as simple as find a spot. If you have a statue, a picture of the Blessed Mother, putting that there, flowers. I mean, you can go as far as you want to put a little crown on the statue. You could do that. You could sing hymns around if that's kind of the vibe that works in your household. Um, Even if it's just one hymn,
Mm-hmm.
but even just to make a point of saying a Hail Mary together in that special spot. And I do think kids can, if they get to participate, get to have a choice of something that they can put to honor the Blessed Mother, makes it all the more special. So,
Yeah. We've talked about this before, sister. I think it was when we were doing the starting small, which
so
we're always
long
starting
ago.
small.
Yes.
And you said young couples. So I remind young couples um, when they're getting ready, preparing for marriage, you start praying together. You do
Mm-hmm.
it now. Don't wait and say we're going to have children. We're going to do it. You get into the habit now. Make it mean something now. And I would say the same thing when you're doing a Marian altar. Now, like I said, a prayer altar. Your Marian altar could be your prayer altar, but you're
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, for the Blessed Mother for May. And um, if you were in the if this is something that a kid sees, mom does, or mom and dad do every year, they get this decorated. It's not that you're pulling the kids aside when they're already like 9 or 10 and saying, "Oh yeah, hey, we're going to be doing an altar, so get over here." But it becomes something that's just part of their life
Right.
that right away, early on, it's just a beautiful thing to do.
But also, if you haven't started anything like that already, and
It's not too late to start.
no, it's not too late to start.
No, I mean, I
Definitely.
don't want to say, well, they're 9 or 10 years old. Forget
It's
about
too
it.
late.
Too
Too
late.
late. Too late. You
But
missed it.
that's not what I'm saying. That's
No.
It could
No.
actually be interpreted. That's what I was saying. Well, what I was meaning is that you're better off doing it early on, so they're more ingrained into it. They still may be very receptive to it.
Absolutely.
And you would want them to have a true devotion to the Blessed Mother, especially in that title as mother, because she is our mother as well.
Mhm.
And this is the month we set aside for her, especially.
Right. And even if your children kind of like, oh, well, I don't, it's just, I would say still do it. Have one, for yourself, and maybe they'll see what it's like and see how you take care of it, how you spend, maybe even just 5 minutes praying. We can't talk enough how much example is really the key here. I mean,
Right.
And that could be a whole nother program in itself.
That is a whole nother program.
But I mean, I remember making a May altar before I moved here. So it was just like this little spot for me to have and to say prayers. And I enjoyed getting flowers every week to put there. It was a very joyful thing.
Didn't you have like a colored background to you had a crucifix there as well?
Right. It was a crucifix.
And you changed the color to the back. Didn't you do that? Or maybe I'm thinking of something that they've suggested.
Like
for each season, like during May, it was like a blue background, and like during
that's probably something different. But
that's still a nice idea.
I did have like this a candle thing, like in a circle holder. So I put the statue in the center, and so I would light candles too. Then I understand if you got real littles, candles aren't really practical. Breakables, like, well, that's that might not be the best, but it can grow.
And don't have Marian knives either. Don't do that.
But it can change and develop as you get older. Every year can be different too, which makes it all the more exciting.
It's kind of what it is for me.
So
when you get to May, or I'm sorry, when you get to Christmas and I'm decorated, I'm always coming up with something new. I don't know. It's just exciting. Like this year for Easter, and I do plan to make it a Marian altar, but I have a side altar put aside with our Lord, a picture of our Lord, his resurrection. And it's a really nice altar. It really came out what I was picturing, but then I'm saying, but also when I get to first weekend in May, I'm at least for that Sunday, I'm going to replace it with the Blessed Mother. I'm sure she's there, because it's just very fitting. And if you have these things that bring, it just gets people's attention, especially when you're in church. People enjoy it. They appreciate it. They love it. Say, Father, looks so beautiful, looks so nice. Thank you.
And just the realization that you can do something like that at home.
Yeah, then you can do that at home, which is what I probably should mention in my sermon tomorrow. So, people figure it out. We do these on Saturdays then.
Yes, that is kind of, we figure out that was the day.
That's the best. This is the best day for us.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
So anyway, I hope this was interesting to people.
Yeah. Hope you learned something, maybe shared a few laughs with us.
Yes, but if you have a favorite hymn, we would love to know about it in the comments. Or you could email us at.
You're pointing to me.
I was to see if you can remember the email address.
aimhigher.podcast@gmail.com.
Excellent. I was just testing you, Father.
That was so much pressure.
We do enjoy the comments. So we would love to hear what your favorite hymn or hymns are, because I think it is hard to choose.
Or devotion,
devotion.
Maybe there are other Marian devotions we're not thinking of.
Or if you do decide to put together a May altar and you're feeling generous, I would send a picture of it and send that to our email. I would love to see the different pictures.
Take a few pictures. It might show up on a YouTube on our
Mine
YouTube
or
episode. You see a few of
there
the
you go.
pictures coming up. Some of the nicest May altars, the prettiest.
Yes.
What's the best looking May altar? It's the one that's done with care, devotion, and love. And that's what God asks us to do the best we can. And he asks us to always aim higher. Right, sister?
He does.
Well, sister, Deo gracias. Alleluia, alleluia.
Deo gratias. Alleluia, alleluia.